bad. Here, with the Convoker calling in, I'm just going to play it safe. And let's plop ourselves back here. Okay, they're convoking again, so I will continue my trek and adventure. You know what? This hallway is actually looking generally alright. Changed my mind now because there's the Thunder Hulk. But at least we have a lot of other enemies nearby. Oh me oh my. Forgot about you, ghostly sons of guns. Well, that is a little bit of a pain in the rear. Let's use a wand of light, just try to blind as many of these folks as we possibly can. Oh, and we're getting shattered by the troll off in the distance. You know what, let's continue plopping ourselves a little bit further down then. That seems like it would be overall advantageous. I'm worried that we'll start to loop around too much, and that enemies at the back of the train will start to be able to hit us. Yikes, this is rough overall. Start there. Bit of Holy Flame gets rid of our ghostly pal pretty dang quickly at least. And these necromancers are still a problem. Ooh, especially as the ghosts start taking up some of our valuable space. I guess we have a little bit of an escape path now. So that's nice. If I can just meander my way back to our kill box of safety, then maybe, just maybe, we'll be okay. In fact, we're currently regenerating much more health than we're losing. And this is a very, very preferable spot for us to continue this fight. There we go. No problems whatsoever when we're not completely surrounded and taking pot shots from afar. Oh me oh my. Thalfine makes you ask too complicated questions about the world and how an L-bend does not have vision, well a V-bend does. Right, we can't think about it too much. When we've abstracted 3D space into the grid pattern, who knows? All the rules that we've spent our lives cementing into our brains are kind of thrown out the window a little bit. That electricity's very much a problem. Do you know what? This seems like a good spot, a good time to just start blasting our way with holy fire. There we go. Ooh-wee. Wow, that was exciting to say the least, which, I mean, was a part of DCSS that it was so far missing from this character. I feel like we had it too easy for too long. There's surprisingly few hexagon grid roguelikes. There's a heptagon grid one, though. Oh, really? I wonder what made that the go-to decision at the end of the day. I'm trying to think, there aren't that many hexagon grid games in general, I'd even say. I mean, the first thing it made me think of is that I do have a map sheet that I'm using for D&D, for DMing. And one side is classic square grid, and the other one is hexagon. And there have been a few times that I've used the hexagon instead, because it felt a little more fitting to just the, I guess, the fidelity of movement that would be required for that encounter. But regardless, not doing too poorly on the vault's side of things here. Like to be on this side of the door. That's just so that when a vault warden inevitably pops around a corner, or at least I was worried about such, then we don't get forced through the door and locked in with all of our new friends there. So that works out. Step away from the walls against the frost heart, and there you are, my warden friend. I knew one of you would be showing up eventually. But Hyper Rogue, the gimmick is that the grid is a hyperbolic space. Oh, that's cute. So that's why they chose the heptagon grid. Hey, Dr. Pirate, how's it going? How goes the nautical pharmaceutical game? And not too bad. Oh, Asterion. Hello, my friend. Well, should be at a point in our run now that you're not too much of a problem. Or, you know, you will be a huge problem, so what do I know? Let's just keep running away for the time being then, especially since these summons kind of just get some there. Beautiful, we can head up, and then let's File of Floods you, first and foremost. And we should be able to take you down relatively quickly, especially since if this doesn't go incredibly well, which it's definitely starting to struggle, then we switch over to Holy Flame, and that definitely gets the job done. Beautiful. Goes, you're exhausted, and good DCSS vibes to chill too. Well, I'm happy, I guess hopeful that, yeah, we're able to help out in some way, but I'm sorry to hear that. I definitely can commiserate with you a little bit on that front, because I'm definitely in the same boat as of late, but I do have a little bit of a vacation coming up at the end of the month here, so hopefully that will give me a little bit of time to recharge my batteries. Spend some good times with family for a bit. But okie dokie, what the heck do we wish to train? At a Hyper Rogue, it's a bit mind-bending to play. Well, it's actually incredibly mind-bending to play. Parallel lines aren't. Interesting. I like the gimmick though. I think that's a fun change of perspective at the very least. But okie dokie. I mean, we could train more ranged weapons, kind of trying to manifest that triple crossbow into existence, bring our dreams to light. But it's not necessarily the best usage of our experience at the moment. I guess on the other hand, I wouldn't mind evocations coming up a little bit. Nice to always have that, especially now that we have both the Condenser Vein and the File of Floods, you know, along with all of the wands that we were already carrying. So that seems like a useful expenditure of things overall. We can also train a little bit more armor and see if that helps out with the attack delay on our weapons. So let's see. We have an arbalist here. Attack delay, so it does look like it will be very similar. Good to know. Well, well, well. 37 damage range. The damage range is the same. Our accuracy would, at this moment in time, accuracy would take a hit switching over to arbalist. But we could use a brand weapon and see if we can't get something half decent here. I'd like probably fire or cold for now. Does Vorpal still exist? I feel like Vorpal might no longer exist. But I could also just be losing my mind. All things are equally likely here. Step away from a few of those walls. We're still adjacent to a couple, so it wasn't the ideal spot to fight Frostheart. But I guess on the flip side, we're finally on a character that is doing much better on the defenses side, and specifically resistances, I should say. There we go. Now that it's 2 against the crew here, we do much better. Thank you, my David pal. I appreciate it. And then we can go off on our own. But you only have a couple hours in it. You can find your way back to where you were before. It feels nearly impossible. Just immediately get completely and totally turned around and lost. Again, a good representation of working in like non-Cartesian space, so I like that a lot. Let's just get away from the alarm trap, please and thank you. Perfect. And then this is still not really ideal in any sense, so I think we'll take these kiddos on just a wee bit of a hike back to our stairwell and see if we can't deal with them a little bit cleaner over this way, shall we? In fact, let's throw some Holy Fire out there just to take care of, I guess, most of the summons. Not all of them, but a decent chunk of change there. Beautiful. Oh, and I actually kind of had meant to recheck the mark chance on the Sentinel. There we go. Let's take a peek at you, my friend. 16%. So still not great, but that's not the end of the world either. We can probably just live with that for now. Because I like wearing the Ring of Fire that we currently have on. You know, make sure that I don't just forget about resistances entirely and run into trouble against the next fire enemy we run into. On a more related note, you've been trying Null Shapeshifter of Oak, and it's surprisingly been okay. Not too bad, but you got a ring that paired nicely with Fire Dragon scales. Yeah, the double cold resistance on the ring. I mean, it's tough when you're juggling back and forth between vulnerabilities and resistances, because I can see that ring you point out also had fire vulnerability. But I guess if you end up with like +3 in both and then -1 on the other side, net positive and not too bad. But Null Shapeshifter, I mean, Okiwaru is pretty great for Null, because heroism kind of affects all of your weapon skills, so you can get things online slightly earlier, for sure, with the Okus approach. It's like a bit more of a martial-focused reasoning to why we usually do Ashinzari on my Nulls. You know, anything that kind of amplifies your skills across the board very quickly becomes super strong on Null characters. Oh my gosh. Thunder Hulks as far as the eye can see, and definitely not who we would hope or wish to fight by any means. Okay, this is not too bad. I was worried about this Convoker. Turns out I was right to be worried about that Convoker. I also don't love... What's going on here? Was there no room for us to phone a friend? There must not have been. Okay, the game gives you no feedback to that. That's interesting. Guessing these slimes can't merge, though. At least the one behind is already in Titanic form, so don't need to worry about it there. But now we can summon Divine Warrior, and that just gives us an out so that we can start fighting this son of a gun, and the second it goes poorly, just take a step back from our problems. And in fact, let's keep taking a few steps back, shall we? Not too bad. I have no idea where our slime friend went. There you are. At least a little more split up. So beautiful. If it helps, we can question M and search for a monster. I'll show you the accurate skill checks. Okay, so we don't need to wait for an enemy to show up in front of my face. I can always just search them up myself. That makes sense. I don't use this help menu often enough. It's super useful, and there's a whole lot of good stuff for sure. I guess specifically, so it's that / M for monster, and this is where we could look up like Sentinel, Vault Sentinel. Very cool. And here I just frantically search through the entire map in the UI here, trying to find whatever is relevant for me at any given moment. Okie dokie, another branded weapon we can't use. We're getting a lot of draining vampiric, and it seemed like there it was just not okay because it was distortion. There we go. My brain was struggling to come up with the correct classifications. Ooh, we hear coins being counted, which actually reminds me, we have another caravan portal, right? A non-timed one on an earlier floor. And let's take a look for that once we find this one, shall we? I mean, it's probably worth the magic mapping, honestly. Let's do it for this one, just because I would very much like to make it, and it is quite the hike. And this is why we kept our fire resistance around. You're still dealing way more damage than I would like, friend. And we're of course gonna have to deal with the warden before we're actually able to bail. Oh, but turns out maybe we don't need to actually at the end of the day. Well, well, well. Let's just keep slowly making our way over to that bazaar portal, shall we? And there we go. That's a perfect place to fight a Frostheart if I've ever seen one. And plop ourselves here. Again, ranged enemies, I don't mind whatsoever. Oh my gosh, that's quite the collection of friends though. still shouldn't be an issue, especially since the majority are just little popcorn enemies, and that is wonderful. Now, if we're going to pop into here, let's do a little bit of maintenance. Done for today, but see me in the VODs. Good night. Yeah, have a good night, Doc Wizard. Thanks again for dropping on by. I hope you enjoy the rest of the run when you catch up on them later. Have a great night here. Consider clearing inventory space before you hop in. I'm already on top of it, Thalfon, but I appreciate, as always, the reminder, because, you know, knowing our track record, there was a good chance that I would not have thought to do so without the reminder. So thank you, my friend. You know what, that's almost definitely enough room. Let's head on in, shall we? Oh my gosh, there are actually people around, or these other shoppers, owners? Might never know, I guess. But nothing really there. Oof, it's been a bit of a miss so far, but never mind. Fire resistance, max cold resistance, and corrosion resistance, all on a single ring. Int -4, besides bringing us a little bit closer than I'd like to potential, you know, stat death territory, I probably don't mind that at all. The strength will also just help with reducing the negative impacts of our armor on our ranged attack speed. So let's buy that son of a gun right away, shall we? Why the heck not? And there should be, yes, still another store here. And you know, we'll pretty much, I think, just buy you out. Least of all the good stuff. Still leaves us at a half decent stage. Oh my gosh, there's a Naga here as well. Everyone's just living in harmony. If only the rest of the dungeon could follow suit. Wouldn't we have a wonderful life here? Well, that wasn't too bad overall. I think we are just about ready though. Hop out. I guess I can take a quick peek, make sure that I didn't miss anything critical in my quick scans. Another curing potion, probably don't need. 14 should do us for the rest of the run. Similarly, like Ice Blast, well, being pretty amazing to have extras of, we have 29 charges, so we should be at least half decent on that side of things for now as well. The logo board, great ring, no kidding. It's a bit of a boring bazaar, but that ring was A+, and hey, at the end of the day, that's all I can ask for. One good item is good enough for me, especially since, again, I'm pretty sure I could be mixing up my runs from last week. I'm pretty sure we have another bazaar that we will be able to enter. So in fact, let's just double check that now, shall we? Yeah, on D13, we had a permanent gateway. So we'll just save up a little bit more cash. Probably finish off vaults here, and then we can take a look at heading that direction. Also, before we go, let's grab some of our trash, shall we? Don't really need corrosion resistance anymore. Ring of Fire, no thank you. And I guess we just put this on again. -4 intelligence, being down to 5 wasn't great, but or isn't great, I should say. But hopefully not the end of the world either. And Thunderhulk, you're definitely a little bit of a problem child, but not too bad. Honestly, didn't know there were permanent gateways, or that was the thing. You know, it's definitely a rare occurrence. I think that's safe to say for sure. But they are nice when they do show up. It's one of the rare times that you can kind of try to prep yourself. You know, make sure you actually have the money to take advantage of a bazaar before hopping in, which is lovely. But let's probably switch back to regular attacks. Oh, one more cleansing fire just to clear the way here. I was worried that there would be more enemies piling in behind that preserver, so I wanted to play it slightly safer, even though we're burning through our limited piety here a little bit faster than I otherwise would like. And getting surrounded by enemies, while not ideal, was, in my mind, still potentially better than taking constant cold damage from the wall vicinity. But I don't know, in retrospect, if I actually agree with that assessment. We have a lot of cold resistance, so maybe should have tried to take advantage of that slightly. Ooh, this is gonna be a problem. We could phone a friend once again here, so we have the easy swap. If we take some nasty hits, like a max damage Titanic Sludge, then we can just swap places and kind of start beating a hasty retreat. Is that worth it? Or do I just risk it? I'm essentially saying, should I do the smart thing or take no risk mitigation steps whatsoever and just get lucky? At the end of the day, that is the more important statistic in DCSS. Whoa. You dealt way more damage than I thought, my friend, so... Oh, and I can't actually call anyone in. Oh, we are definitely in trouble. Well, let me take a look at our quiver here. If we quiver a Scroll of Fear, 90% chance to work on these Sons of Guns. Oh, that might not have been worth it, though, because I feel like you're going to be worse. Yeah, you are probably going to be worse. We don't have anything like butterflies, so it's probably going to have to be cross our fingers and hope we don't immediately die. Perfect. Then just keep swapping in bodies to try and take the brunt of the damage here. Beautiful. And if you kids could just keep it up a little bit longer, healing up nicely as we wait at least. Oh, and you kids are doing quite well for yourselves, so perfect.